Hello and welcome to Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. We begin with security. President Muhammadu Buhari has described Thursday's attack in Shiroro local government area of Niger State as a direct assault on Nigeria, which will not be allowed to go unpunished. President Buhari paid tribute to the gallant men of the security forces who lost their lives in the process of defending the attack. The president said the gallant men constitute the best Nigeria has to offer and they will be remembered, while urging the citizens to pray for the families and loved ones of those sacrificed in the fight against evil, safe and speedy return of those abducted. The president assured of everything possible to ensure that the terrorists have no hiding place, no matter where they hide. And the Nigerian army has confirmed the killing of some of its personnel in an ambush, while responding to a distress call about bandits attacks in Shiroro area of Niger State. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, says General Officer commanding 1 Division has moved to the location to take charge and reinforce the location, while some of the criminals have been neutralized. The Nigerian Army encourages civilians to exercise restraint in posting images of such occurrence, as this comes with some emotional burden on bereaved families. And the Office of the National Security Advisor has launched a monitoring and evaluation mechanism for the counter-violent extremism program of the federal government. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the story.
Violent extremism has for some time undermined fundamental human rights and national values, destroying lives and property. That is why the government developed a program to eliminate and stop the spread of violent extremism in the country.
The National Action Plan is overdue for review.
This forum in Abuja brings together people whose role are crucial to the implementation of the program. The goal is to launch a monitoring and evaluation mechanism.
Following the launch of the framework and national action plan signed by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2017, the activity of PCVE were to be tied to monitoring and evaluation strategy to enable tracking as well as measuring the achievements of implementation of PCV activities in Nigeria. Unfortunately, this strategy was missing in the policy framework.
There are things that push the youth into violent extremism. And so this strategy highlights ways of engaging the youth, engaging communities, engaging different religions by different actors so that we stop the spread of violent extremism in this country.
Using the mechanism, stakeholders in the implementation of the project appraise successes recorded and the way forward. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The National Council on Privatization, NCP, has approved the board composition and proposed governance framework for the sustainable management and payment of post-privatization liabilities of the power sector transferred to the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NELCO board. The council also approved fast-tracking of the work plan for the concession of the Zungeru hydroelectric power plants. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The approval by the National Council on Privatization of the board composition and proposed governance framework is for the sustainable management and payment of post-privatization liabilities of the power sector transferred to the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company board. The composition of the board includes the Minister of Finance as chairman, while members comprise the Minister of Power, Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises, Director General, Debt Management Office, Managing Director, Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, and all its executive directors. It was also resolved that 2 key members from the private sector be included in the board. Also at the meeting, the council noted that the key objectives of the Zungeru hydroelectric power plant concession include leveraging private sector access to finance and reduce reliance on government budgetary allocation to fund the China Exim Bank loan, and leveraging efficiencies and better facility management culture of the private sector for the long-term preservation of the asset. The council had, in its December 2020 meeting, approved the concession of the power plant. Similarly, the council was briefed on the performance assessment report of the 9 electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, which has been forwarded to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for further review and action. The meeting of the council, its third in 2022, was presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The federal government has constituted an 8-member committee to produce a white paper on review of new parastatals, agencies and commissions created from 2014 to date. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says this has become necessary to address the rising cost of governance in the country. Mitaire Ikpen reports.
The biting economic realities and cost of governance compelled the federal government to review the Steve Orosaye Committee's report, which in 2012 had recommended the abolition and merger of some parastatals and agencies of government to curb duplication of roles and enhance efficiency in the civil service. A second committee also reviewed the creation of new agencies from 2014 to date. This white paper committee of eminent bureaucrats headed by former head of the civil service of the Federation, Ebele Okeke, is expected to consider all recommendations and advise government on implementation.
The inability to implement the report of the committee on restructuring and rationalization of federal government parastatals, agencies and commissions is costing government highly. These costs grow higher, and the situation is further worsened by the fact that new agencies are being created on a daily basis. I would ask that probably we have your report turned in as quickly as possible within a period of 6 weeks.
We promise you that we are going to do a very good job by the grace of God, and we will definitely submit before the 6 weeks.
The report of the White Paper Committee will guide government on whether to abolish or merge new and existing government agencies with overlapping or duplicate functions. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
And from Ghana comes the reports that ECOWAS ministers of finance, diplomats and experts have identified priority sectors such as value addition on agricultural products and maintaining economic growth as necessary requisites to recover from current global economic challenges. Foreign Desk correspondent Usman Ali reports that the ECOWAS Ministers' Council in Accra specially recognized President Buhari for his role in championing the fight against COVID-19 that stimulates recovery.
COVID-19 is not yet over, but unlike the year 2020, it is now less worrisome as the vaccination campaign brought hope once again.
In a very special way, I'd like to duly acknowledge and express our appreciation to His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the champion for the coordination of the fight against COVID-19, for which he has taken salutary initiatives and made available the necessary resources and logistics at the service of the community.
With the effect of the pandemic, climate change and the Russia-Ukraine war, the ECOWAS ministers say effort must be intensified on trade, free movement of people and goods, adoption of digital economy, as well as reinforcement of the human capital base.
We must cooperate in terms of trade liberalization. We must be able to cooperate to get the full benefits of the African Continental Free Trade area. We must also be able to cooperate together to make sure that payment systems within our region are seamlessly aligned so that you can trade with each other without using a foreign currency, but trade with our own currencies and be able to make payment settlements.
There's going to be a discussion on the Lagos-Abidjan corridor. It is the biggest trade corridor in West Africa and one of the biggest trade corridors in even the whole of the continent. So as we know, there are so many thorny issues along that corridor. We have seen how, for instance, the Republic of Benin imposed tax of 9 million CFA per truck that are passing through their countries, taking goods from Nigeria to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and other countries in the region.
In the end, leaders of the West African community are expected to adopt reports on far-reaching resolutions on various committees and experts. In Accra, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, the federal government has completed the concessioning of the Onitsha River Port in Anambra State for 4 billion naira under a public-private partnership arrangement. During the signing agreements between the managing director of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, George Mogalu, and the concessionaires in Abuja, the Minister of State Transportation, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, said the concessioning of the port will bring about huge economic benefits to the eastern part and the country as a whole, which will be a catalyst for the rest of the river ports to be concessioned.
That it not only does it bring about economic growth for the companies and for the area, it also literally creates employment, which is critical to our economy and also helps in the issue of unrest amongst the youth.
We believe very strongly that Onitsha River Port is very well positioned to play a key role if the opportunity is provided. We've received all the needed assurances from the records I met by the time I took over as Minister. That as if we speak even, we'll have 2-3 unsolicited proposals for people who want to concession Oguta River Port. And then some other team also have shown interest in grabbing, let me use the minister, grabbing the one in Lokoja. So a lot of people are beginning to understand that there's a lot we can do in our maritime sector.
The investor is going to bring in 4 billion naira, but is going to generate over 23 billion naira to the government. 30 years? Yes. To the federal government? Yes.
The concessioning of the Onitsha River Port is to rehabilitate, operate and transfer to the federal government after 30 years. And in line with the federal government's diversification of the nation's economy, Cross River State government is now set to acquire a third aircraft to boost airline services. Governor Ben Ayade, who stated this in Calabar, says efforts are on to secure the Air Operator Certificate AOC before December this year to attain full ownership and operation of Kali Air. Paul Abel reports.
Since its inauguration, Kali Air, with 2 aircrafts, have been operating under a partnership, but that will soon change with the intervention of the state governor.
Well, Kali Air has 2 aircrafts, and we need 3 to be licensed to actually run an independent airline. That has been a challenge for some time. So I'm in a rapid negotiation with some companies out there with the intention to provide us 1 aircraft that will enable us to have 3 aircrafts so we can run a full swing.
With Avis Space's ticketing counter for Kali Air already acquired at the Margaret Echo International Airport, Calabar, and ratification of the appointment of a new MD by the State Executive Council, the state government is expected to add its mark on major air routes in the country.
It is not just the Kali Air. But we want to complement the workings of the Kali Air with indeed our own indigenous airport, which by the special grace of God, we've gone more than 80% completion. By the time the airport will be ready at Ubudu, Cross River State will smile in the near future.
Once we have stage 4, 5 at NCA, then we'll take the 2 planes out of our partner.
The rumor of non-operation of Kali Air was debunked as it is currently operational on commercial routes across the country. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammad Buhari has approved the taking over of the Lafayette Airport in Nasarawa State by the federal government to serve as an alternative to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Governor Abdullahi Sule gave the cheering news in Lafia. Aliu Tijani reports.
Lafia Airport, conceived and constructed by the previous administration of Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura and now completed by the present administration in the state. President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the airport earlier this year with flight operation on stream. In view of its viability and proximity to the nation's capital, Abuja, and the request by the National State Government for its takeover by the federal government, President Buhari speedily granted the approval.
And we kept trying to say we have every justification for Mr. President to take it over. One, the Army Special Forces for the whole country is in Duma, and they need an airport. The Air Force Special Forces for the North Central, their headquarters is actually in Lafia. That's the Air Force forces that we have here.
Also, federal government is to refund all money spent in the construction of the airport to the state government. While addressing the Alago stakeholders in Lafia, Governor Sule describes the development as a good omen to the state. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is soliciting the support of Servicom in its drive for improved awareness on road safety, especially in the discouragement of night driving, a major cause of death in the country. This came to the fore during a meeting with the Servicom CEO and National Coordinator, Nena Kajamili. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
Night driving is one many road users find interesting. Apart from being cheaper, many say it proves useful for emergency situations and early morning engagements.
So some of the passengers, like I met some this afternoon, were saying that they prefer the night journey more than the day because it's more like free road.
However, the imminent dangers associated with night driving cannot be overlooked, as it turns out a major cause of road crashes in Nigeria.
We see people stranded on the way, shouting, they have just robots now, they have just trappers now.
This meeting with Servicom is the latest in the FRC's campaign against night driving, citing poor visibility and drunk driving as a major cause for crashes.
The area we're having problems now has to do with road traffic crashes at night. We need to improve on this, of people not to drink and drive. We need to propagate this, and at night people should learn to ensure that the illumination of their vehicle is in right order, and also not to cut down the speed, because if they were not on speed, that wouldn't have happened. And that is why this year now we've been battling with the commercial vehicles.
Though night driving cannot be outrightly stopped, both bosses agreed on the need for continuous campaigns to discourage motorists. The Corps Marshal was also honored with the award of Servicom Champion due to the said quality service delivery by the Corps. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
We now move to Lagos to join Adeola for more stories on Nationwide. How are you, Adeola?
Very well, thank you, Lami. Good to see you and welcome to Lagos. The first cargo vessel, Chenkwa 28, has berthed at the Lekki Deep Seaport in Lagos, bearing ship-to-shore cranes and other equipment. The vessel, a 232-meter-long heavy lift carrier, arrived Lekki after 30 days at sea from her originating port in Shanghai, China. She was received by major stakeholders in the Lekki Deep Seaport project led by the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, who said the successful delivery of her cargo is critical for the commencement of operations at the West Africa's biggest deep sea port. He added that with full automation of port processes in mind, preparations are in top gear to start generating revenue from the port by September this year. And Lagos State Government is committed to transforming a learning environment in schools from analog to technology-driven modular learning spaces to promote information technology among the young population of residents across the metropolis. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu disclosed this after unveiling improvised interactive modular classrooms created using standardized reusable freight compartments known as container in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
Digital classrooms is born out of the long-standing initiative of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to improve access to basic education and digital learning in schools. Each of the classroom compartments is adequately insulated to give comfort and create a conducive ambience for hybrid learning for children in public secondary school.
This containerized modular building is made up of 9 regular classrooms, 3 laboratories, and 4 staff rooms. All of these spaces are powered by solar panel, and all the students have been given an electronic tablet to aid their learning, both in school and also virtual learning. This is a welcome milestone towards ensuring that no child is left behind in Lagos State.
The new structure is bound to increase enrollment of students in this catchment area, help them develop their potential. It is in line with education and technology, and we are very proud of it.
There are also recreational facilities, including a 5-a-side football pitch and a multi-purpose built court, which can be used for a variety of ball games, such as volleyball, tennis, badminton, and basketball. Governor Sanwo-Olu urged administrators, teachers and pupils of the model college to take full ownership of the facilities provided and ensure the infrastructure is maintained. While the students bask in the euphoria of a new and conducive atmosphere for digital learning,
congratulations.
13 outstanding teachers drawn from the 6 educational districts in the state were rewarded with sports utility vehicles for their passion and deployment of modern teaching techniques in their respective schools. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos for now. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/olive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. Nationwide will continue with a smile in Sokoto. After this break, to stay with us.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled a witch, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, you don't old, make it do die, make everybody for rest, to ailing parents, uncles, and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles, and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties, and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
We can file your Saturday delight, going to places from the obscure to the hinterland and cities, bringing you development stories and perspectives, connecting the people with government and stakeholders on critical issues of our national life.
We are live in Abuja.
It's 9 p.m. every Saturday on the network service of the NTA. Weekend File. You can't afford to miss it.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. Accurate prediction and constant synergy amongst critical stakeholders dominated discussions at a one-day comprehensive disaster management and flood prevention workshop for critical stakeholders in Sokoto, organized by National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Datti reports.
Mitigating the impact of the anticipated flood predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Nigerian Hydrological Survey Agency is the focus of the one-day workshop. These policymakers, major stakeholders, and other humanitarian workers are gathered to fashion out proactive ways of preventing, mitigating, and responding to any disaster incident. State Coordinator, Nigerian Hydrological Survey Agency, Abubakar Umar, gave an overview of the predicted flood, which is to affect 13 local government areas of the state. Abubakar attributed inconsistent annual predictions to vandalization and insecurity.
If you look at Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, and some part of Kebbi State, even Niger State, they are all having issue of insecurity. So we find it difficult visiting some of these our stations to retrieve data.
Though stakeholders welcomed the idea of coming together on the way forward, Professor Allah of the Rima Basin emphasized on accuracy in the adult predictions by the concerned authorities.
Some other stakeholders have also, talked to us about the issue of collaboration, to work on our dams, to work on so many places.
We urge them to descend all that they have learned here to the downward groups so that the messages will reach to the masses.
Head of Planning, Research and Forecasting, NEMA Sokoto Office, Tukur Abubakar, made a presentation on the disaster risk management and implications of 2022 seasonal climate prediction and annual flood outlook. With the stakeholders meeting, methods of mitigating flood through development strategies are expected. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
The federal government will collaborate with Zamfara state government to provide resettlement for IDPs in the state. The Federal Commissioner for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, stated this while interacting with IDPs taking shelter in tsunami area, Gusau Metropolis. Halil Muhammad reports.
Protecting and promoting the human rights of persons displaced by banditry and other forms of disaster is one of the mandates of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. It is against this background that the Federal Commissioner of the Commission, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, paid a pre-assessment visit to IDPs living in various settlements of relatives and other public buildings in tsunami area of Gusau Metropolis, ahead of an assessment team that is aimed at eventually providing shelter and other basic infrastructures for them. The commissioner had during the visit interacted with many IDPs, mostly women and children, who converged on a health facility in the area.
light, water, strengthen the school, make sure that the hospital can service the people that live in this community.
Iman Suleiman noted that her commission is in talking terms with the Zamfara state government towards addressing the accommodation and other basic needs of IDPs across the state. Tsunami area, otherwise called Angwar Dambaba, has over the years served as shelter for many persons displaced by bandits in different parts of Zamfara state. In Gusau, Halil Muhammad, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Lami in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Asma'u. The agricultural sector of the Nigerian economy is built for a boost, with a turning out of 40 participants currently undergoing training on the facilitation of agripreneurship developments for women in agriculture. The training, organized by Agricultural Rural Management Training Institute, is aimed at developing women's interest in agribusiness to boost food security. Kendi Molosho reports.
In line with its core mandate of training young Nigerians who are unemployed but have interest in agripreneurship, AMTI is training another set of youths to become farmers, the second in the last 1 month. The participants at the end of the 5-day intensive training would have been exposed to the nitty-gritty of agribusiness and be able to establish their own farms for food sufficiency.
You can farm now with that land, and you can be in any aspect of value chain for you to be able to develop yourself. You may not have it all, but you can smooth it.
We are trying to look at a scenario where we are going to change the attitude of women so that they'll be able to see agriculture as a business rather than a way of living. And at the end of the day, I believe the women will be able to select an enterprise.
When women are empowered, the family is empowered. So we want our women to be fully engaged. Whether they want to go and practice outside or they want to practice indoor, there will be something for them to do in agriculture.
29-year-old Bidemi Agbozuadu, a master's student of the University of Ibadan, became a farmer in 2020 due to the outbreak of coronavirus that necessitated nationwide lockdown. The timing of this training is apt for her now that ASU is on strike.
We're a very populated country with a lot of natural resources, and we need to tap into these resources to make a change in the community.
The participants will also have an opportunity to visit some farms in Ilorin for practical aspects. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
In line with the current nationwide tour and evaluation of the performance of beneficiaries of the National Directorate of Employment, the next stop is Jalingo in Taraba State, where hundreds of unemployed youths have been trained in various trades for self-sustenance. Jessica James Hajia reports.
In accomplishing its mandate in Taraba State, hundreds of unemployed youths across the 16 local government areas of Taraba State have been trained in over 100 skills acquisition programs and have become employers of labor.
We are reducing the movement of unemployed youth from the rural to the urban. Those that they don't have their own relatives or where to stay.
Some of the NDE trainees who have established businesses of their own in various skill sets, they are now self-reliant and contributing to the nation's economy.
It's good in the sense that when you acquire the knowledge, you can start the business without money, because even though you don't have cash in your hand, someone will bring money and give you advance, you start the work with.
Almost 10 years ago, they gave me a loan, 300,000. It's what I keep on building, and you can see me today.
The progress have gone far because the number of years I've been in this work, the number of apprentices I've trained, they're about 16 number.
The National Directorate of Employment Taraba State has succeeded in reducing unemployment by training youth in carpentry, ICT operation, farming and small stock production. In Jalingo, Jessica James Ajia, NTA News.
We now turn to politics with the news that the All Progressives Congress APC has upheld the McDonald Ebere-led State Executive Committee of the party in Imo State. Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Yakubu Ajaka, disclosed this to newsmen after a meeting of the National Working Committee of the party. The Deputy National Publicity Secretary said the letter written on the 15th of June by the Deputy Secretary, Festus Fuanter, that recognized the leadership of Dan Wafo was done in error.
The McDonald-led committee remained the substantive executive in Imo State. There is no change of leadership. The current executive is a product of a Congress. The Congress that produced Wafo Group has since elapsed by the decision of the NEC of June of 2020. You understand? So the current ESCO there now is the only recognized ESCO in Imo State. It was a mistake. That letter was written in error. That is the decision of NWC today.
Now, the former presidential aspirants on the platform of National Rescue Movement, some federal lawmakers have joined the Peter Obi movement for 2023 presidency. The new members were received at the Labour Party Secretariat in Abuja. David Irie reports.
The Obi movement is expanding its support base as prominent politicians clamoring for change are joining Labour Party. The latest entrants, including Emeka Mandela, who was seeking the presidential seat, and a member of the House of Representatives, Mark Igbila, are determined to team up with other Nigerians to ensure the victory of Peter Obi and the Labour Party.
Today, I'm collapsing over 1.4 million youths across the 774 local governments into Labour Party.
This is not a social media issue. We all know that this will translate to the votes that will emerge at the end of the day.
This is beyond ethnicity. This is beyond religion. We've just found a man who has very clear understanding of what the issues are.
The party is convinced that many more political leaders and statesmen are on the line to unite with the Peter Obi movement soon.
All we want is to turn this country from consumption to production, remove the sharing formula and replace it with production formula.
As many Nigerians that want changes in the country, that want to rescue Nigerians, our doors are open.
The new entrants have been issued their membership cards. In Abuja, David Irie, NTA News.
It's official. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has extended the continuous voter registration exercise indefinitely. Mayor Ogidi reflects on the rush, youth involvement, and events that led to the extension.
The Peter Obi movement is expanding its support base as prominent politicians clamoring for change are joining Labour Party. The latest entrants, including Emeka Mandela, who was seeking the presidential seat, and a member of the House of Representatives, Mark Igbila, are determined to team up with other Nigerians to ensure the victory of
distribution by age. The youth lead with more than 6 million. By occupation, students top the chart with more than 3 million. By sex, a near draw. The sudden show of force, as it were, by the youths has forced many to ask questions, and their reasons not far-fetched.
We said that, you know what, the power is in our hands, so we have to, come together to try and make some, change. We noticed that 15 million people voted for the incumbent government. That means only 7% of the population voted.
If you don't vote a politician, they cannot represent you. So policy making starts from you getting your voter's card. So I will not call it a revolution, but I'll call it a necessity.
June 30th, deadline for the continuous voter registration. Rush was unimaginable. Concerts organized to encourage more registrations. More machines deployed. A slight relief noticed.
I've had so far, I've had like 3 experiences and they've just not been nice. But as of today, it's been very good.
But I believe that we have the capacity to clear these long lines that you see in various registration centers if Nigerians will cooperate with us.
The National Assembly appeals for 60 days extension. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Program, SERA, takes INEC to court to extend the CVR as well. INEC hands are tied.
But you know, one of the challenges we have is that if tomorrow you announce that the voters registration process has been extended to the end of July, those on the queue now will go home and then return a week to the end of July, and it creates its own problem.
7:30 p.m. Thursday, 30th of June, a statement released extending the program indefinitely. Despite the indefinite extension, the last-minute rush is expected because INEC did not specify when the exercise will end. So for now, each day should be treated as the last day for the exercise. Mie Ogide, NTA News.
And the National Working Committee of the All Progressive Change for Solidarity movement says it will continue to stand on the path of progressive governance and national cohesion. The political group was speaking during its visit to the new grand patron of the movement and Emir of Bulgu Kingdom, Dr. Mohammed Haliru Dantoro. The Emir appreciates the recognition and urged the group to mobilize Nigerians towards achieving a hitch-free, credible and transparent election in 2023. He says as a youth-based group, attention should be centered on sensitization and campaign for continuous voter registration and love for the nation. Now, to commemorate the 2022 International Day for the Support of Victims of Torture, the National Human Rights Commission and the Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action have presented documented resources on anti-torture that will promote campaign on human rights protection. Omenka Marachuku reports.
It's a crime against humanity and prohibited under international law. Despite all this, the act persists and remains a global challenge. National Human Rights Commission and the Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action are using the day to intensify public enlightenment campaign and promotion of human rights.
The Commission will continue to deploy its promotional and protective mandates to work in partnership with both law enforcement and other agencies and organizations to stamp out torture and ensure accountability for the crime of torture.
And we want to use this opportunity to encourage Nigeria to take every necessary step to implement fully the recommendations from that committee.
The country has taken a positive step by passing the Torture Act in 2017. All we need now is how to enforce the act. But we will not be able to do that if we are not enlightened about the act.
The Commission also carry out the campaign to detention centers across the country. In Abuja, Omeka Machuku, NTA News.
And Kemi is in Ibadan with more stories from that end. It's over to you, Kemi.
Thank you, Lami, and welcome to Ibadan. Enumeration of business owners who applied for Kwara NG for small and medium-sized businesses in the state has commenced. About 4,000 businesses are targeted to benefit from the program, which is aimed at cushioning the effect of COVID-19 on businesses. Raliat Ibrahim reports.
The ongoing enumeration focuses on micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, MSMEs, and is aimed at providing relief and cushioning the effect of income loss brought about by the pandemic. Businesses with 3 to 9 staff will receive up to 200,000 naira, while businesses with 10 to 50 workers will receive up to 700,000 naira.
This thing is brought in here by our lovely governor to make sure that all these businesses are being, you are relaxed with it, because we know that quite all right, there's a lot of businesses that are affected by this COVID-19. And when the World Bank came on board that, okay, and they can do something of this magnitude for the populace, like in each of the states, you understand? The governor had to go extra length to make sure that this thing is being brought to this state.
This development to some business owners is well timed.
the money, I want to expand my business so that I can be able to employ more other people to join me to do the work.
If I get the money now, actually I'd like to promote my business. If possible, invest another one so that I'll have many sources of income.
The vetting process requires business owners to present verifiable documents, staff record and business location, among other requirements. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
Often described as the last hope of the common man, the judiciary plays a pivotal role in the dispensation of justice to ensure law and order in the society. With several protracted cases in various courts, where lies the hope of the common man? Correspondent Joel Popola has more.
Justice delayed is justice denied is a popular legal cliché that succinctly captures the state of justice dispensation in Nigeria, with many matters, especially human rights matters, land matters and other trade disputes still unresolved after more than 20 years due to several bottlenecks such as long adjournments, needless technicalities and other delays which have slowed down the pace of justice dispensation. Senior lawyers agreed that the stakeholders in the judiciary needs to be on the same page to sustain the credibility and hope of Nigerians in the courts.
Go to court, the courts may not sit in some cases. You go to court, the court may sit and adjourn the cases and tell you the judge is involved in one thing or the other. We are not also enjoying the benefit of ICT, so that cases that come up for mention, cases that come up for ruling, cases that come up for harmless interlocutory applications should be taken virtually.
The lawyers urged relevant authorities to provide necessary facilities, including enhanced welfare package.
If a judicial officer is not comfortable, how is he or she expected to dispense justice the proper way? And you know that it's a very tasking job for them. Most of them write in long hands. Most of them have deadlines to deliver judgment.
Efficiency of the judiciary, the stakeholders agreed, is germane to economic development of any nation. In Ijebu-Ode, Joel Popola, NTA News.
That does it from Ibadan. More reports on Nationwide with Mohammed in Maiduguri after the break. Don't go away.
Could make someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination. Now, imagine the victim who cannot reach out to these responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Agwe.
And the girl, especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years. If she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just back to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is there, FRS?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just deaf.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. For past security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Itself is life. Once you lose hope, you lose life. Once people get lifted to a certain level, they start feeling godlike.
What would you attribute this backwardness in education to in the North to date?
I feel alive.
What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
The program is reflections.
From Ibadan, welcome to Maiduguri and Nationwide. Borno State government is prepared to pay 2021 leave grants to civil servants before the end of December 2022, while promotion examination is set to be held in October this year to promote eligible as the test exercise is the first to be organized for public servants. This was brought to the fore by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum at the end of a meeting held with leaders of the labor movement in Borno State. Mohammed Goni reports.
The meeting between Governor Zulum and the leadership of NLC and TUC Borno State chapters was to brief the state's chief executive on labor issues and concerns for government's attention. The governor also directed the head of service, Barrister Simon Malgui, to devise measures to ensure that civil servants are promoted as at when due and to liaise with the labor and other relevant stakeholders to identify vacancies in the MDAs. He equally assured automatic migration on retirement from salary to pension for local government staff, while gratuity payment for those omitted from 2013 to 2016 will also be made to the beneficiaries.
Government has ordered for immediate 50% down payments of all pension arrears for retired local government workers, while inshallah the remaining 50% will be paid in the next 1 or 2 months.
Professor Zulum expressed readiness to meet leadership of joint tertiary institution next week to discuss issues affecting members of the body with assurances to work with the leadership of labor to change the narrative in the state civil service. Borno State Chairman of the NLC, Comrade Yusuf Inoa, said the leadership of the organized labor had been accused severally for not taking the government on issues which include payment of leave grant, promotion, gratuity payment for those omitted, and automatic transfer of local government retirees from salary to pension, among others. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The number of surrendered Boko Haram fighters and their families has so far reached 59,000 and is increasing, an indication of gradual move towards victory for the country's armed forces against the insurgency in the northeast. General Officer Commanding 7th Division Nigerian Army Major General Waidi Shoaibu disclosed this at the special Jumat service held at Maimalari Cantonment Central Mosque, Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, as part of activities commencing 2022 Army Day celebration. The report. Nigerian Army is marking 159 years in 2022 with various activities for the celebration to include this special Jumat service and prayer session organized by 7th Division Theater Command Operation Hadinkai. GOC 7th Division Major General Waidi Suleiman led other principal officers to include Commander 37 Artillery Brigade, Brigadier General Dan Umaru Bello Suleiman, among others. Chief Imam Maimalari Cantonment Central Mosque Lieutenant Colonel Kabiru Yakubu Saad, quoting the Quran and Hadith, reminded faithful that the Almighty is against those engaged in evil deeds, as He has commanded forces to protect good people against such perpetrators. Hence, enjoined troops in the front line to accept their services in good faith, remain dedicated, patient, and wait for further victory promised by Allah in such circumstances. The Imam led the congregation in special prayer for the country's leaders, victory for its armed forces, as well as peace and prosperity across the country. Speaking to newsmen, the GOG assured Nigerians that the fight against insurgency in the northeast will soon come to an end.
There are over almost 59 surrendered, both the fighters, their families, and children.
This is a positive sign that the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Armed Forces here in the theater are doing the right thing, and will continue in this line. It shows a good sign that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
NATSEL gives the Army opportunity to review its operations as it assures to make improvements to overcome security challenges facing the country. Those are the updates from Maiduguri Nationwide. We'll continue with Lami in Abuja. Good evening.
Many thanks, Mohammed. And sports update is next.
Global women football attention turns to the African continent, where the 12th edition of African Women's Cup of Nations kicks off on Sunday.